Ooh, hello tube. Today we have Near to the Wild Heart by Clarice Lispector. If you'd like your own copy, you can use my affiliate link down below to bookshop.org. Or if you use to purchase this book, or well, I guess I read it on the Kindle. So, but I'm sure they have ebook versions. If you use it to purchase this book or any book, you get an awesome book and next cost to yourself. I get a small commission. It's a win-win. That's a great way to help support the channel. You can also support the channel by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, commenting, thumbs upping, all that stuff. Finally, there are timestamps down below if you'd like to skip around within this video. Excuse me, I've been doing a lot of yard work today, so sinuses are on fire right now. We're going to get through this, though, I promise. About Clarice Lispector. Clarice Lispector, born 1920, died 1977, was a Ukrainian-born Brazilian novelist. Now, isn't that just kind of insane all of its own? You go from Ukraine to Brazil. A short story writer and journalist whose fiercely original voice reshaped 20th century literature. Born Chaya Pinkhasevna Lispector to a Jewish family fleeing violent pogroms in Ukraine. I have no idea what a pogrom is. This is just stuff I got off the interweb. She arrived in Brazil as an infant and grew up in Recife before moving to Rio de Janeiro in her teens. Lispector's writing career began early. While studying law in Rio, she published journalism and short fiction. And at just 23, she stunned the Brazilian literary world with her debut novel, Near to the Wild Heart, in 1943. Written in radical interior monologue style, the book was hailed as a revolutionary and immediately established her as a major new voice. Over the next 3 decades, Lispector produced novels, stories, chronicles, and children's books that pushed the boundaries of narrative form. Her works such as Passion According to G.H. in 1964, Aqua Viva 1973, and The Hour of the Star in 1977 explore consciousness, identity, spirituality, and the ineffable moments of human experience. Critics often compare her to Virginia Woolf and James Joyce, though her style is unmistakably her own, elliptical, intimate, philosophical, and deeply interior. Lispector spent many years abroad due to her marriage to a Brazilian diplomat living in Europe and the United States before returning permanently to Rio in 1959. Despite personal hardships, including a severe injury in 1966, she continued to write prolifically until her death until 1977. She is regarded as one of Brazil's most important writers and one of the great literary innovators of the 20th century. Her works have been widely translated, adapted into films, and embraced by a new generation of readers around the world. About the book Near to the Wild Heart, excuse me, my nose is running. The author, of course, Clarice Lispector. Original title Porto do Caraca Selvagem. That's how you pronounce all those words. Language is in Portuguese. Genre is just, I guess, fiction. Publisher, a Noite Editoria. Like I said previously, publication was 1943 in Brazil. And first published in English in 1990. I believe this is the 2012 translation. I should mention, too, the translator is Alison Entrecan. So let's give the translator their due props. Brief synopsis of this story. Near to the Wild Heart, published in Rio de Janeiro in 1943, introduced Brazil to one writer called Hurricane Clarice, a 23-year-old girl who wrote her first book in a tiny rented room and then baptized it with a title taken from Joyce. He was alone, unheeded, near to the wild heart of life. The book was an unprecedented sensation, the discovery of a genius. Um, the narrative epiphanies, interior monologue frame the life of Joanna from her middle-class childhood through her unhappy marriage and his dissolution to transcendence, when she proclaims, "I shall arise as strong and comely as a young colt." I don't remember where I pulled that synopsis from. It might have been from bookshop.org. But it tells you absolutely nothing about the book, and I I wish I could tell you more, but we'll get into that here in a second. Typically I try to get some, some reflections, some takeaways. Truthfully, I didn't know what was going on in this book very well. Again, we'll get in that here into the next section, my thoughts. I mentioned in my video on NW by Zadie Smith a couple weeks ago that I was curious about stream of consciousness. I really didn't enjoy how NW was written, so I wanted to figure out whether it was Zadie Smith's particular style of consciousness or that didn't work for me, or whether the entire technique just isn't for me. After reading Near to the Wild Heart, I think it's the latter. Between the stream of consciousness and the timeline jumping, I spent most of this book confused about what was actually happening. I understand that the broad strokes. It begins with like Joanna as a child, then moves into her marriage to Octavio, and there's a love triangle woven through it. But the narrative moves made it hard for me to stay oriented. Parts of this is personal. My brain just doesn't shut up. Random thoughts, constant noise, blah, blah, blah. One of the reasons why I love reading is because it lets me kind of get out of my own head. With stream of consciousness, I can't really do that. Instead, I'm stuck inside someone else's mental noise, trying to figure out whether the thoughts have meaning or whether they're just drifting. For me, it's just not enjoyable. This isn't a criticism on Clarice Lispector in any way, or the style itself. If you see brilliance here, and many readers do, I'm generally happy for you. I'm just saying the technique doesn't work for me, and that's okay. It's not a style that is meant for every reader. What is important is that the experience isn't going to stop me from reading more on Lispector. I know she wasn't a one-note writer, and I'm looking forward to revisiting her in different contexts with different books, and hopefully a different experience. So, yeah, Near to the Wild Heart. I have no idea really what's going on in the book besides what I mentioned there. It just jumps around so much, and the stream of consciousness, it's too much for me. It's too much for me. Just like how magical realism is just kind of too much for me. It's just not something I enjoy. And I do know some of her bigger works that I just mentioned. I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe Passions of Aquarium GH and Aqua Viva still has the stream of consciousness. Those are the two books I always hear about from her. A little nervous there. But I think her next book she wrote, I didn't write it down, something Chandelier. I believe that's more of a kind of a straightforward narrative, possibly. Don't quote me on that either, because I haven't read it yet. But I think that's what I've gathered from looking into it. So, like I said, I am not deterred from trying more of Lispector. It's going to be kind of hard for me to try more of the flowy of consciousness sort of stuff. But I might still give it a whirl. Maybe I'll actually use the library for once instead of going out and actually spending my hard-earned money on it in hopes that I might like it. That's a possibility. So, yeah. Near to the Wild Hearts. Did I say that right? Near to the Wild Heart by Clarice Lispector. Let me know down below if you've read it, what you think of it, what I get right, what I get wrong. Do you like the stream of consciousness stuff, or do you also find it kind of anxiety riddling and not all that enjoyable? Other than that, I think that's it for this one, peeps. Cheers.